Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and this is Friday. It's September the 12th. This will be our chart lesson for today, and this is going to be a fairly quick chart lesson. It's late on Friday, and I meant to already have this done, and I've gotten sidetracked, but I wanted to get one out for today. Pretty good trading day. Notice that I am on the December contract. Well, you can't see it up there, but I am on the December contract. Yeah, you can actually see it right there. I am on the December contract now. Switched over most of the volume. So it started out kind of slow right in here, but it didn't take long. This was a pretty good day, to be honest. Fairly decent downtrend. Clear two-tiered channel here. And it got a little tricky down here because you would have figured before it bounced we would have made a new low. But prices just couldn't make a new low, and we just kind of really meandered on both sides of that midline. You can see it was acting as support, resistance, support, and then we took off. So when we couldn't make it down here and rallied, that was a sign that, hey, we may go higher. But it's late in the day. It doesn't matter by that time. It pretty much for the entire trading day, it was all downhill except for this correction. And all this is prices coming back to the upper trend line. And I had this in place. I can't remember when I posted. I think I posted a little late, but I had this in place. Originally, I had it a little lower, so I had it, as early as 8 o'clock this morning, probably. And it might actually be a little bit lower because that takes into account all these other ones during the day. And maybe this one's a little bit higher, and we just had some overshoots. And if you put that there, and let's work on this. Yep. It's amazing how that works, huh? Actually, it's not. We do this every day. It's still amazing to some degree, but that gives you a break in there, 9 o'clock or so, and then new low. So I pretty much traded it the way we had it, but if you tighten it up, you see that really gives these other trades here a little more credence as well. So just something to think about. But notice this overshoot and this equal overshoot. Funny how that works out as well. So if you draw the lines where I originally had them, then they're perfect. So, but let's talk about the trades. I want to get through this one pretty quickly and call it a day and start my weekend. But this was actually, even though this swing is lower than this one, you could treat this like a new swing because look, we came up, we corrected, so it's very similar to a new swing. And so you start down, first entry long, pull back, second entry long, it fails, it goes out the top, turns, and just go short right there. Nice trap on a failed second entry long, and a big bearish reversal type bar. Man, I love those bars. Usually those will take off pretty quickly. This one took a minute to really start working, and but it turned out to be a really good move. You just had to be patient and wait on it. And of course you draw your shorter term trend line off those first few swings there. And notice how we get a two-legged pull back to that area. That's a second entry short right there. I would probably consider trying to use a limit order maybe right at the end. If you'd gone one tick in, you would have missed this move. So I'm thinking maybe right at the end of this bar, and either way it would have worked. And then you get a little pull back, and you get another chance to enter right here. And this one's right off the trend line, and at that point you probably didn't have these two where they're at now. Because no way I would have went short right into that line there. But at the time, I would have had a measured move from off those highs up there, off those first two, at least like that right there. But I actually usually start off the tops and had it more like that. But in the end, I believe it to be just like we showed it a minute ago. So I wouldn't have gone short there like that. And you can see it bounce. So some people were looking at that. But it moves on down lower. Then you get the correction. Now notice that's the first break of that short-term trend line. So you're probably going to get a retest on that too. But look at this trend coming up here. And it might have been just a little bit tighter than that, but it doesn't really matter. Prices never could get back to that line till here. Then we got the break. Now, I got several questions about people got confused here, and I'm not really sure why. Notice that there's no retest. We tried to retest it, and sometimes you can't get a retest, but there wasn't enough, you're kind of making higher. So when it reversed right here, these trades were both still good. So if you went short, they both still worked. But people, for some reason, got confused on this rally here. But all that was the retest and the UI, and then it sold off again. So you don't know when the retest is coming, but that's two perfect, really measured. That's really two legs down. It starts right here, first leg, pull back, second leg. That's your two-legged correction, and then it tries to go higher. So I don't know why people got so fooled there. Most of the ones that asked me about it after I pointed it out, they were like, hey, wow, I see it now. I guess it's possible on this short right here, depending on how your chart was. If you waited on this bar to go short, then you might have got burned. Let me see that. Your entry would have been 81.75, and it would have been a 4-tick loser. Yep, so that makes sense. Maybe that's where people got tripped up. But let me make this bigger. But if you look at my bar, it was a green bar, and so I was using, this was really the little correction. So when it went back down, when it broke lower, I used a limit order, and I was able to get filled a tick into that bar, and then it shot on down, and it got enough for the scalp, and then it reversed. And I really meant to draw this in green because most traders are going to take that back to the upside. And what you got to be considering is always a possibility. This is leg one. There's a chance you might even get another move up like that. You notice we came up a little short. And when you come up that short and it starts selling off, that's a good sign that it's probably going much further in another direction. When you don't meet your target by a point or two like that and then it suddenly reverses. So they trapped people. I didn't like going short on this one because you kind of had the overlap right there. If it would have broke higher and then turned down, you could have added on or even gone short there, but it didn't happen. So then you don't get your pullback till here. And this is like a little bounce, almost like a correction. So this is close enough to be similar to a failed second entry long. This is your signal bar, but you would have gone short. Notice it went higher above this bar first and then turned. This is like a little pullback as well to test the EMA. So you would have gone short right there, or actually the best thing to do would be, because that's a bullish bar, not a very good setup bar, is to let it pull back and use a limit order. And you see you could have gotten filled all the way back to right here when it came back and then took off again. But if you didn't see that when it's right off that trend line, then you get a chance to go short right here. This is actually a little bit lower right here. And that's your failed second entry long. Just go short, and then it breaks the trend line, and it's like a little breakout pullback short. Look how bearish that is. I like that setup too. And you had to get your stop in there. Really, with those two matching bars, you should have already had your stop there in case it broke lower to get you in. And so, even though it skipped over right there, you should have already had your stop there, and that was an easy move. And then it's two legs back, right back again, right back to the EMA, a second entry short right there. And this one was real tempting, but it was so close to these lows right across here. I just don't think it was worth risking right there. It would have worked. And notice what this line is. This is the close from yesterday. And notice how all the way across here it acted as support and resistance. Those are important areas. And so this is an area you got to think wisely about going short. So I wasn't real crazy about this short. It looks kind of, it's definitely congestive, kind of rangy looking. So when it broke lower, you might have thought about using the limit order and dropping one back up in here and see if you could get filled. And it is the confirming bar of there's your first two swings. It kind of confirms it, and off it goes. It turned out to be a pretty good trade, actually. And then this one comes back. This actually, I originally had that like right across there. Originally, I had that touch, and it was a touch, and I liked it because it's a failed set. This is a new swing high. Notice how it's higher there. First entry, pull back second entry. It's a failed second entry long. You figure people are going to get trapped there. I would, since I didn't close right on its low, you might think about a limit order, but sometimes you'll miss those trades, especially on traps. So, you know, you might have thought about using a stop there too. I think it worked either way. Let me just verify that before I tell you that on my chart. Your chart might be slightly different. 74. Yeah, so even a stop would have worked there. But normally that's when I would use a limit order, when the bar is not real bearish. And you notice it didn't quite close on its end, but it could have easily ticked either way, just like it did here. But that's when I'll consider sometimes using a limit order, especially when there's not enough room to scalp out. You're hoping it'll back up, which it did back up right here and give you another push down. So you could have gotten filled either way. And then you get a two-legged correction back to test that breakout area. And that's a second entry short. It's a fairly bearish bar. Again, it didn't quite close on its low. But I believe if you tried to use a limit order here, unless you were right at the bottom, you would have gotten left behind. And that turned out to be a really good move down to a new low. That's the first break of that trend channel right there. And you expect a retest, and you get a double bottom, and it reverses. But this is late in the day, right before the close, but look where it found resistance, right back at that previous close of the day. And that's just, or no, those are the previous lows, I'm sorry. Previous lows of yesterday. See them right there? And notice how that came into play again. My thinner lines are the previous day stuff, and the thicker lines, the green ones, that one, and that one. That's the high. That's the high of today. That's the low of today, and the yellow one is the open of the day. Where is it at? Oh, it's running right between those lines right there, and that. So, and then the thin ones are previous days. So that's yesterday's high. The little black line is yesterday's close. The little yellow line right here is yesterday's open, and the thinner red line is yesterday's low. So I'm gonna start putting that on there. I forget to talk about it if I don't, and you can see how important that area was. All those areas, fairly important areas. So, but pretty good trading day. Lots of movement today, and all trending in one direction. Look at how the EMA, it got a little iffy right here, but look how the EMA was trending all day long. One of my lines is missing here. I don't know what I did with it. Did I accidentally delete it? Must have deleted it. Move it back up here. There it is. And so that was pretty much what I saw today. It really looked like and there's also a two-tiered range, which is what I was playing early on. And that's another reason to like that trade, because it kind of breaks higher there. But you can see the two tiers, and originally I had this a little bit higher. I believe I did. I can't remember exactly where I had it, but I believe that's it. And it's pretty much two measured tiers right there, and then it broke on through. But that's what a breakout pullback looks like. And generally it's better to wait on the second entry. It wasn't very pretty though. The first entry, it broke higher, but then if it would have went on through on that bar, I would have taken it right there. But because we got a downtrend. So that's the kind of breakout pullback, especially on a second entry with a breakout pullback. And that's what you got. Notice the new low, pullback, first entry, pullback, second entry short, right there. I did mark it in green just because it was right at that previous day's low, and you were finding support across there, so there's a chance it doesn't get through there, but it did. So, but that's pretty much it. I'm going to wrap it up, start my weekend. Hope you had a good week trading this week. We'll be back Monday to do it all over again. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.